what we want in this life are feelings, not things.
Yeah.
We want to feel certain things. Now, we go after things first because we think the things will give us these feelings. And I would invite people to consider the reverse. What's it feel like to start with feelings? To build your life around what you want to feel. And I think the things and the people will manifest to support those feelings.
What's up, YouTube family? Real quick, if you could just like, comment, subscribe, that helps out the show so much. Now, let's get into it.
The SelfHype Podcast.
What is up, y'all? Welcome to the SelfHype Podcast. It's your boy Eli Vasquez, brought to you by Chobo Studios. Now, this week's an intentional one. It's an emotional one. It's all about how to reconnect with yourself, challenge yourself, and how to authentically connect with others. And we do that with the phenomenal Chris Rivas. Chris Rivas is an actor, author, storyteller, best known for his on-screen work in a Fox series called Call Me Kat. He has a phenomenal book called Brown Enough, which explores the social commentary about not being perfectly Latinx. And he has a children's book coming out. He also is a creator and host of the SiriusXM Stitcher podcast, Rubiosa and Brown Enough. He has a PhD in expressive arts, everyone. This man is a beautiful energy in terms of social commentary, exploration of oneself, doing the work and growth, and just being your most authentic in the wake of ego, fear, and all that. As a man of color, in my process, I really leaned on him, saw his content. He inspired me in so many ways. And I'm so happy to bring him on this show so you could receive his gifts and maybe challenge yourself a little bit to better love you and be you. So enjoy. Chris, dude, I'm so happy to have you. I've known you for years, and you are like, I've always saw your content and leaned on you in so many ways because, you know, as a man of color who is in the process and digesting and challenging themselves and wanting to connect with humans and to share their story in a deeper way, there's not a lot of views. So and you being Latino as well, you've always been an inspiration to me, and I've always like very much looked up to you and your passion, and I'm so happy that you're here, and I'm so happy that everyone gets to hear your words. And like I said, we have a lot of female listeners, and they're going to be like, where's he at? Where can I get more of him? Which we'll talk about later in terms of connection and growth and better understanding and all that. But either way, I always like asking this question, you know, you being Latino, Dominican, man of color, New York City, yet you have this, you know, poetry and self-awareness and a need for art connection and growth about you. Like, why are you the way you are, Chris? Why are you the way you are? But first off, thank you for coming. You got me too excited. We got into the salsa and the colonization. You got me all amped. Thank you for being here first off, but why are you the way you are, Chris? That's the lead up to it.
I got lucky. You know, a big part of this life is you got to get lucky. And I'm curious, and I was curious. And my parents, who had pretty terrible upbringings, you know, they didn't know how to be parents other than to allow their children to be curious in safe ways. And I came out the womb with whatever curiosity and fat question asking. Like, that's just how I came into this world. That's my path. That's my desire, to ask big questions and then to maybe live myself into an answer, as Rilke would say. And so I'm curious, and I've been curious, and I was a kid who didn't like myself, and I was curious why I didn't like myself. And I was curious why certain art moved me and certain art didn't move me. And I was curious when I saw John Leguizamo on Broadway, you know, and I was curious if I could do that. And so I think curiosity is my strength, and my it's all things. It has caused harm in my life and brought so many blessings. Yeah, curiosity is why I am the way I am. Yeah.
That's that. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, I think there's this hypersensitivity that's there with people where you hit on the good and the bad that comes with it. It's like you're so curious, you want to discover, you want to feel, you want to see, but a lot of the world's not necessarily like on that wave, or if anything, their fears block that or what have you. So, I mean, congrats on staying the course and never, not being curious, because I'm sure there's a lot of curious people that kind of maybe dim their light per se, and just try to like conform, if you will. So it's beautiful to see you hold on to that since you were at such a intentional young age, which is beautiful to see.
Yeah, it's 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 scary to walk into the unknown.
Yeah.
So like, but the I don't know space is actually the only space where things change. Like,
Yeah.
and that's across all, it can be intellectual, emotional, financial, relationship, sexual. Only in that I don't know space do you expand your play range. And it takes
Mm.
a bit of courage to say, "Oh, I'm stuck in my knowing. I'm going to move into my I don't know, and maybe my play range will expand. I might like it, I might not like it." And I don't think there is a narrative in this society which encourages us walking into the I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, it encourages walking into the known, but like the known is actually what I think sort of capitalism and whiteness wants you to know and think about yourself and what you're capable of, and
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. The unknown is so real. And that is, I think that's what's exciting. What I love about you is you're such an advocate of that. And that's what a lot of people strive for, but because of all these fears and everything else, it very much gets in the way. I mean, with you exploring the unknown, you got to explore the unknown in a variety of different avenues in terms of your art, in terms of, the podcasting, which congratulations, freaking. I saw you rep the New York City ad. It was in Times Square. The ad was in Times
It
Square.
was, yeah.
And I was like, I was so damn proud of this man. I think I shook my ass while I was like, in my apartment seeing that. I was so proud of you. I was like, so I mean, we worked on such a variety of beautiful projects, and I know Brown Enough is your baby, the book, deep dive into that identity and exploring that, and really like a vulnerable piece for you as well. And I have a copy as well. It's freaking fantastic. Thanks. Um, Tell us about the process of creating that project and like what has kind of been, I guess, the impact for you in the process of making that, but also the impact, for others.
Yeah, it seems to be having a second life, which is super nice.
Yeah.
It just got put into the Connecticut school system in high schools, which is really cool. It's really beautiful. Like, I want people our age to read it, and I think there's medicine in that. And uh, I think one of the only reasons I stay on Instagram is because my ego likes when I get a random message from someone being like, "Yo, I read your book," and the ego's a trip. It's a powerful force. Uh, I I'm proud of that book. Brown Enough was the world wanted it. Again, I returned to this luck. I think in this life, a little bit of luck is required, and but it all returns to curiosity. Like I was a kid who learned about that Dominican James Bond, Porfirio
Yeah.
Rubirosa. I wrote a play about it. A scene from that play was about dating white women. I was curious why I dated white women. That got into the New York Times. And then sort of someone said, "Do you want to write a book?" I didn't have a book in me, and somehow I paired with someone who was like, let's be patient. I bet you we find something in you,
Yeah.
so I sort of got lucky in that way, and I went and I asked these big questions about sort of brownness in my life, brownness growing up. What does that mean to discover one's brownness, to own one's brownness in this black white world? But if and the book is still doing beautiful work. We're giving it to 1,000 high schoolers in LA, which is really really cool. Um, yeah, I want the youth to read it. I want it to be armor for them that they know they're enough. But like, I would never write that book again because the book, and if I did, it would just be called Enough. Because
Mm.
regardless of how you identify, there isn't someone listening to this or in the world who doesn't want to know they are enough, who doesn't want to walk into a space of belonging, who wants to know that their story is enough, that their voice is enough, that they don't need to take another workshop or, listen to another thing or read another self-help book. Like right here, right now, like you are enough. And so, and I think the book does that. And now the future of my work is really about that. It's about liberation of enoughness.
Mm.
Um, because I do think got really intimate with brownness and what it means in my life. And I haven't mastered it because I don't think it's a thing you master. I think it's an evolving thing. It's like a blob. Sometimes it's big, sometimes it's small, sometimes it encompasses a lot. Um, but yeah, Brown Enough was and still is a baby, but now is turning into a sort of adolescent with its own legs.
Wow. I mean, it's beautiful to see the transformation that continues with you. Like you could easily be stagnant and be like, this is my message and this is what it is, and this is what I'm gonna like be in a space to master, or say I'm the master of this space. Yeah, you were able to let it be what it is and give it to who needs it, but then even push yourself with more curiosity and more self-discovery. Because I love what you said of like, why don't we just be enough? There is like personal wellness, personal development, all fantastic, but it could be to a point where you're always going to the next thing, and that could turn into the next goal. That could turn into the next. I'm only as good as the
Yeah,
next
you start to think
achievement.
life is a self-improvement project.
Exactly, exactly. And but like just the even with me, it's like this is something I dive into and talk about a lot, but even sitting stagnant with who you are, it's uncomfortable. Like it's like am I being lazy? Am I being pointless? Am I wasting my time? Am I it's all those sayings could be give you so much pressure of like, oh my God, life is short. It's like, oh my God, I gotta go like write a book or run a marathon or do something. Like, how do you manage that in this era of just being enough? Like, how do you find yourself remedying those moments of tension where I don't know, maybe you're slipping in a bit of like that you're not.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm in them all the time. I think of my friend Zandy Brackett, who once said to me, "Are you still an artist if no one sees your art?"
What's up, y'all? I know you guys are enjoying the show, but real quick, I just want to talk about the Patreon. Patreon, you get early access to episodes, bonus content, and you could even ask a question that gets on the show. It's patreon.com/selfhype. Now, let's get back to it.
I think of my friend Zandy Brackett, who once said to me, "Are you still an artist if no one sees your art?" You know, or do
Yeah.
you need the validation of others to prove that you are something?
Yeah.
And and then I think about the artist way of living and being, and artists have to be curious in the world. And good artists think about the thing itself. They make love to the art itself before they think about consumption. But we're stuck in this loop where everyone needs to make cash and pay rent, and so you start to think, what's going to be good? What's going to be a hit? What's going to sell? And then you've already lost the art.
Yeah.
You've like your idea isn't original anymore. It doesn't. You're working in reverse order.
Yeah.
Um, Rick Rubin, right? You shouldn't consider money until you've made love to the thing itself. Uh,
Yeah. I love that one.
and with algorithms and social, we're working in reverse order. Uh, yeah, so that's yeah, I think I lost my
No, you're
my
good.
train
I
of
mean,
thought, but
I'm captivated by just your mind working in that self-discovery space. Because I'm like, I feel it as well, man. I'm like, if anything, in terms of kind of, where we're at, I'm like, where I'm at, I'm like I'm so exhausted. Like it's easy to get exhausted of always trying to appease the crowd. And it's like, yes, it does well, but at what cost? Like, where do I fit in that? I feel hollow. I feel like then I'm just like a McDonald's cheeseburger at one point. I'm like, what's the substance? And it's this fear that you kind of face to be as most authentic as you can, but there's that ego, like you said, right? Like there's that ego that says, well, this is authentic, but it's not getting traction, or maybe no one cares, or maybe it's not enough. And again, we're at such a like, comment, subscribe era, right? Where you're only as good as this social number attached to you. So it can be really difficult. Like I have a lot of people that want to make content and do these things, but it's like, what if nobody likes it? What? And then I'm like, but that's always been, now that's just such a natural attachment that wasn't necessarily the case maybe at another point in time. But it's like, will people like it? Will people
yeah,
digest
the
it?
best
Do all that?
the best art I've ever made was things I cared about. Like they were meeting my curiosities. They turned
Yeah,
me on. They got me excited. And then other people, were interested in that. But if I ever found myself trying to make things because it would sell or make some sort of money, or
yeah,
it felt so boring and it felt kind of painful. Like you had said, talking about this enoughness, right? So I'm recovering from knee surgery, and you know this. Uh, Meditation is a big part of my life. The Dharma is a big
yeah,
part of my life, and uh, man, it is so. I'm really struggling to meditate with this knee right now.
yeah,
I'm really, really struggling, and meditate. I've been meditating for 14 years, and because when everything is going well, it's easy to do the practices that participate in the well,
yeah.
but like this knee surgery it's taken my identity away. It's shaken me up. I'm
Wow.
not the physical fit person I think I am. I can't really get comfortable literally sitting, I'm
Yeah,
being challenged in every moment. So I tell myself I should write, I should make art. but making art is not about like, I gotta force it. Like I can't really be comfortable. So I just have to sit with myself.
Yeah.
Like the whole practice is me sitting with myself. Um, and I think that's enoughness, is what you had said. Like it's just sitting with yourself. You're not your products. You're not even, you're not your story about yourself.
Yeah.
You're like yourself when you're not looking in the mirror and you're bored and you're scared and you're a little confused and you're anxious and you feel like you may be missing something and you're pondering. Like that storm, that chaos, like that's the moment we're looking to just sit with ourselves and see what's born of that. It's really it's really scary and it's really powerful.
Yeah. That's like, this knee is like meditation in itself. Like you're not meditating. Like your non-meditation is meditation for this knee. This is fascinating. Like, but you hit on something that's so important, is just, yeah, sit with yourself. Like we're such an era of such distraction, this distraction, like any singular moment. Like I notice, like when I go pee now, I like at a bar or something, I pull out my phone and I'm like, dude, this is like
It's
30
crazy.
seconds. I'm like, what am I
Crazy.
doing right now? I'm like, really? And I'm pissing while I gotta wash my hands. I gotta wash my phone. Do I do it every time? That's up to interpretation. But it is this constant state of distraction that's always there. I mean, I just want to hit on the fact that like this is such a refreshing conversation to have with you, just as two men having this deep dive of challenging themselves and the self discovery that's there. I mean, and it's a thing where not a lot of men do that, you know. I think you are very open with your struggles, even now on this call, of what you're currently dealing with. Like you're very open in that space, you know. And I think this is a world where I think a lot of men would want to be, and I'm sure their female counterparts would want them to be. But you know, what do you have with someone that may, like, what would you kind of tell someone, or maybe like help them guide a little bit in terms of like, maybe they're not used to this world of sitting with themselves and challenging themselves and even vocalizing it. Like what kind of steps, or maybe, tips, or what would have you to kind of help a man kind of get into that space?
Masculinity is a tough one because it's talk about the matrix, right? It's like we're plugged in. Men are plugged in, but women are plugged in. Everyone's plugged into this idea of roles and what we should do. And I know it has caused me a lot of harm in my life.
Mm,
I have fought a lot to not cry in front of a partner, to hide my face. Like I have this habit, I can see it, that when I really cry, I want to hide my face.
mm,
Um, and and I think it starts there. Like see where you're coming up against your wall.
yeah,
See where you're meeting your like edge, and can you gently see it? You don't have to break it down. Like you ain't got to fight it. You know, you just got to see it.
yeah,
And if you see your wall of whatever that is, intimacy, affection, vulnerability, honesty, if you see it, you've won like 100% of the battle, pretty much, right?
yeah,
Um, right? Isn't that how all AA works? Like if you
yeah,
can call it out, then you've won. And you might slip up again, but hey, you can see it. And sight is really important. And so, to any uh, sort of identifying male listening who's struggling with that, but I think it's people of all genders. Like when we see our walls, we just got to be kind with them.
mm,
And that's why partnership is actually amazing, because other people see the walls that you can't see. Um, and so we get to thank them and not retaliate at them. Like
yeah,
that's why other people are just incredible, like mirrors for us.
yeah. I mean, I was gonna say, you said that, I was like, you know what? Yeah, in an ideal world, that is the ideal response. But unfortunately, so many of us retaliate. Like we
Yeah.
see that mirror, like we get challenged in that way. And I even say, like, I mean, everyone wants this healthy love, this healthy love, this healthy, like healthy love is a challenge. It's challenging. You have people that are showing you things that maybe someone else didn't, and it's a real thing that you kind of have to digest it. And so many of us could see that as an attack, or they're trying to, attack our character, or whatever. Like, because I was gonna bring up, I'm like, as a partnership, how does a partner help with that, and you hit on something, like it is a beautiful mirror, it is very important, but so many of us, I guess, we have these instilled fears and of vulnerability and connection. It's like, Like, in what ways do you explore how to remedy that fear and get to with your partner where they're there with you, not, trying to attack you or against you?
I'm not an expert on, on relationships, but I've been in a partnership for years now, and you got it's a lot of work. You got
It's
to
a lot
talk.
of work. No,
You know what I
this is
mean? Like,
good. This is
it's a lot
good.
of work. That's
We want this. We want this, like, this authenticity, because like everyone could perceive you like, oh, he's probably perfect in relationships and he probably just listens and like chops wood and like kisses her forehead every time, but they're just happy all the time. It's very great to like unravel, be like, I'm this person of self-discovery, and that is still these challenges. It's I love that you said that, but yeah, please go on.
what does Rilke say? Like, love is the work for which all other work is merely preparation.
Yeah.
And another way to look at that is partnership is the work for which all other work is merely preparation. And it's your whole life, trying to coexist with another person. Uh, it's very difficult, And I think of, again, I'll bring up that metaphor, that image of me hiding my face when I cry.
Yeah.
What else am I hiding? What else can I
Mm,
share with them? Uh, Also letting go of the idea that it's like there's no success or unsuccess. It's just like if we choose to be here today, there's work to do.
yeah.
Um, and tomorrow there's work to do. And sometimes the work is fun, and sometimes it's easy, and sometimes it's hard as hell, and sometimes it's super annoying, like and frustrating. Uh, but it's that it's a deep like all right, so check it out. Everyone does ayahuasca these days. It's very hot, very popular.
Yeah.
Everyone and their mother's done a journey or a ceremony. And no shade on ceremonies or journeys, but your life is the ceremony, homeboy.
Hmm.
Like your life is the journey. Um, it's not when you're sitting in a circle in a controlled space in a controlled environment. Like
Yeah.
meditation isn't when you're on your cushion. Like love isn't when you start dating and it's super sweet. And the work is the ceremony at all moments. Like your life is the
Yeah.
ceremony.
Yeah.
And the knee surgery is the ceremony. The not getting the job you want is the ceremony. Like uh,
Mm,
you struggling to know what to do next is the ceremony. Let it in. Like let it in, let it in, let it in, and see what happens.
wow. That's so necessary to bring up. Like, I have the most, like, I've realized, yeah, it's the whole life process. We're always trying to like discover in this event or time or space. Yet the biggest discoveries are, you're right, when we don't get the job, when like, I mean, Jesus, I was traveling in Paris, and I was having such a good time making content. I'm like, look at me, I'm in Paris. And then my freaking phone dies, and I don't have the charger. I'm in some part of the city. I don't even know where the hell I'm at, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. The sun's going down, and I'm really pissed off and angry. And I'm like, this ruined my whole Paris trip. And I was like, wait a minute, it's okay. Just keep walking around. I found a charger spot. I paid way too much for a charger, but I got a charger. Charge it. It was fine. I realized in that moment, I'm like, wait, I'm a person that really kind of could fly off the handle over little moments. But like that's something I need to discover, but also I'm not going to let this ruin my experience. Like that was that little moment of just a charger, by just taking a second to self-reflect, turned into a quality of mine that I wanted to address, think about, ponder on, and own for myself. So I like that you hit on the fact that like life can be that if you open yourself up to that ideology, because I think we get so stuck into this tunnel vision of where we're at and where we should go or what we have done and the regrets and the stress of life, that we don't really be present to try to receive those gifts in that way. So that's great that you hit on that. Um,
I like to think of it as what we let in expands us.
mm,
We actually move through the world quite small, right? Like, we're gods in human drag, but we love the drag. And so we start to think, Eli starts to think like, I am charger. I am person with cell phone with charger. Like it's very
mm,
caveman thinking.
mm,
And when you let life in, Eli can then realize many people don't have chargers. I'm
mm,
in Paris. What an abundant blessing. I don't have to stare at a screen. I get to stare at the street. I have money to buy charging. Many people do not. So when we let life in and we don't hide our face from it and we open our heart to it, we get sort of more expansive. We get fatter. Like we can hold more of life, more of the
yeah.
good, more of the bad. Like we're much more expansive than we think we are. And our experience is much more than usually the thing that set us off. Right. And
Mm,
it doesn't mean those problems aren't real. It's just we're just trying to be expansive. Like I can have a bum knee and also have a beautiful life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can be struggling, I can be worried, and also be so grateful. You know, all of this can happen at the same time. Uh, we're trying to get fatter, like hold more of life.
Yeah.
Just want to hold more of life.
What's up, y'all? I know you guys are enjoying the show, but real quick, I just want to talk about the Patreon. Patreon, you get early access to episodes, bonus content, and you could even ask a question that gets on the show. It's patreon.com/selfhype. Now, let's get back to it.
We're trying to get fatter, like hold more of life.
Yeah.
Just want to hold more of life.
Yeah. And that's great. You hit on it because it's like it's not so much like necessarily like, well, don't complain, don't be upset because other people have it harder. It's like you're allowed to have a human experience, but just, practice this additional thinking and self-awareness of where you're at and what you get to do and everything else just to get you back to center. It's like we're allowed to be human beings, we're allowed to have our problems, but there's a lot there. And you're right. You hit on that of like I get to look at the street, I get to be more present. I get to have these things, and like that word I get to is a powerful one that could bring you back to center as well. And I like that you were very specific with what your quirks are, like the hiding of the face. And like I feel like everyone has their thing too. Like I know I realize how much of what was it, how emotionally I could shut down in moments of conflict, or like I could be people pleaser. I kind of just want to move the situation over, if you will. And then and then once like I'm safe and alone, I'm like, wait a minute, that wasn't okay. Wait a minute, I have to address this. Wait a minute, I have to, like it's really important that like we realize what our thing is because it looks different for everyone. And I'm sure that helps in terms of a partnership of these are my things and I want to let you in to know what those things are. And you're my partner. So it's, obviously my job to remedy, but you're my partner to support me through that. So that's a good quality in terms of like, I guess what to look for in a person. Like you said, you're in a relationships therapist, but I already know there's listeners, and I already know they're gonna stalk you online, and they're gonna be like, "How do I find a man did the work?" That's what I get all. How do I find a guy that did the work? So I guess in another frame of the question, like, how do we find people that are open to be discovered and to receive like that deep connection? Like,
I
what
don't
what
think
to look
we
out
I
for?
don't think we want people who did the work. We want people who know it is work. So
Mm,
like it ain't done. You're not a self-improvement project. You will not cross the finish line. You know, when you die, you will be complete. That's how it works. Like you would have checked off as many boxes as you can check off, but there is no finish line. And you will never come to a place where you are sort of uh, more than you are right now.
mhm.
It's just a blob. Like it's not a static thing. Um,
Yeah.
Sometimes you feel better, sometimes you feel worse. Sometimes you're more excited, sometimes you're less. So we want people in our lives who I think embrace that like that blobness, that like presence, which really just means presence. Like,
Mm.
and they're willing to meet the moment as the moment. Uh, because a lot of cats out here will tell you I did the work. They didn't do shit. They did a couple mushrooms, like you know what I mean. They paid money to go to a meditation studio. They did a sound bath. Like, Papa, that's not work. You know,
Yeah.
like it's curiosity and work. You're curious
Mhm.
about it. You know, but here's the thing: the work don't cost money. The work is right here, and it'll take you for a ride. It'll show you who you are, and that's a little scary for people to see who they are. The other thing I'd say about finding people, and again, I'm no expert, like, but what we want in this life are feelings, not things.
Yeah.
We want to feel certain things. Now, we go after things first because we think the things will give us these feelings. And I would invite people to consider the reverse. What's it feel like to start with feelings, to build your life around what you want to feel? And I
Mm.
think the things and the people will manifest to support those feelings.
Right.
You will find communities that support your feelings that you want to be embodying. I want to feel peaceful. But shit,
Mm.
you might want to feel powerful, you know? You might want to feel desirous. You might want to feel ecstasy. Like, what do you want to feel? Put that first. Like, what does Mary Oliver say? Uh, your actions reveal your devotion.
Mm.
Actions reveal what you are devoted to. Start looking at your actions. Start looking how you hide or don't hide your face. And you will start to see what you are actually devoted to.
Mm. Yeah. That's for prefacing the fact that I'm not an expert, that's a damn good answer, Chris. That is the damn good answer. And again, it's sitting with yourself. I mean, yeah, LA, a perfect example. It's like, yeah, I did shrooms. I went to Costa Rica and trip did ayahuasca, what have you. You did a whole ceremony and stuff, like a cacao ceremony. I'm like, okay, great, now fantastic, but chronically single, the world's against you. You're upset. You haven't like sat with with yourself in that intentional way when you're stuck in traffic or what have you. I'm like, and also, like you said, it's right there. Like you are that. You're sitting with it every day. Like explore that. Have a moment to explore that, which is so crucial. And I don't know how you feel about this, but like, is there a space kind of like everyone's like, what enlightenment? Like I'll keep working on myself until I master it and I'm perfect and all that. But do you reach the top of the mountain to realize there is no top? It's just you and you're just that's really what it is. Like you're always going to have these things and manage these things and struggle. Like you say that's fair to say, because it does feel like if I achieve enough, then I will be perfect. It really feels like that's like it's like a video game almost of your own personal world.
Yeah, there's no end to the game. I mean, again, death. And even that's not the end in my personal view. That's where we just sort of get back on the wheel and give it another go,
Yeah.
to figure out what we actually are looking for. Um, yeah, it keeps going. Like
Yeah.
it just keeps going. And so I think the more we practice this very, very fucking easy word to say, presence, very simple to say. It's so incredibly powerful and large, and can't really be defined by words. But we have all felt it. We have all felt when time felt slower.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I want to feel. I want to feel the peace of when time feels slower and not rushed.
Mm.
And a lot of us, I think, are like, whoa, it's March already? It's April already? It's 2000 this? Oh, and when did that happen? Your life is running away from you because you're not in it.
Yeah.
And so I just want more moments where I'm in my life, where it expands, right? What does Einstein say? Like a minute on a hot stove is very different than a minute with someone you love. The same minute, just our presence and our awareness of it is very different.
Yeah.
And I want that hot stove presence without the pain. But sometimes it
Love that.
includes the pain. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's real. How do we make that time go slower? Like take that action, devote ourselves to spaces and moments of people to define that. Now it's freaking fantastic. Spitting bars, Chris. I feel like I could like chat with you for like ever about this. We need drink some margs and have a good old time and have these deep conversations on the beach sometime. With that said, you have such an intentional campaign in terms of these 1,000 books, to youth in Los Angeles. Like please hit on that, and then whatever else you're working on, and where we could find you in these digital streets and how we could support you in your work.
Digital streets, you'll find me on Instagram or ChristopherRivas.com. Read the book. I think it's a beautiful book. Even better, buy a book for a kid. So, go to our GoFundMe, and like give a book to a kid. $11. $11 will buy a book for a child in LA, and it comes with the curriculum, and the 3 high schools are approved. If you're in Arizona in a couple months, I'll be doing an opera out there that I wrote. If you're in Boston in July, I'll be doing a play out there I wrote with the wonderful Annie Gonzalez, shooting a movie in the new year. Just making art. Check out my Substack. That's what I'm in love with, writing about liberation, kind of all the things we've spoken about. We just have this wonderful intentional community of liberation. And if you want to join these Dharma groups that I host Tuesday nights, we meditate and talk about Dharma together every Tuesday night. Hit me up on the IG, and I'll get you the info.
Wow. A lot of things popping. Nothing is stopping. I'm proud of you, man. Thank you for being a part of my space. It means so much. You gave so much value today, and have such a beautiful intentional time getting that knee fixed. And we're gonna see you on the court, gonna see you training like Rocky very soon. But thank you, brother. I really appreciate the time.
Appreciate you, my dude. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, for being on the show. It truly is amazing. That was therapeutic for me. He hit on a lot of things that I need to really be self-reflective, and I really need to work on. I really need to challenge with myself. And I hope you guys all gain some benefits too. So thank you, Chris. You can check out his book and everything else in the show notes below. And thank you for being a supporter. And if you want to take it to the next level, be like, Eli, you're so dope and charming and stuff, I want to give you $5 a month. Well, you can. And with my Patreon, and you get early access to episodes, you get to ask me questions, you get coaching as well, and all that. A 3-day coaching challenge in terms of self-love. So it's all there. Be a part of the community, and thank you for listening. I'll chat you next time.
The Self Hype Podcast.